I don't mind that remark. The Tongs stock 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 picker. I don't mind that remark. Um, I heard it my whole life. He's a Tongs stock picker. Anyways, not so anyways, here's my Netflix management analysis. Okay. All right. So Netflix is gonna start build production a subsidiary up in Canada called Netflix Canada. You know, it's the same as Walmart Canada, Sears Canada. Um, Walmart Canada is doing really well. Sears Canada, I think, is doing was actually doing better than Sears USA. So it's just a subsidiary up here, um, and it's not so much the content will be Canadian, which will be broadcast all over the world if anybody's interested. That's not the key. That's not the main um, point to focus on. The main point to focus on is really Netflix is going to be like another studio. There are some, believe it or not, there are some Canadian studios up here, like movie studios. So Netflix is going to be another Canadian. Netflix Canada is going to be another Canadian studio, right? Or and some of the broadcasters, some of the TV networks up here, um, also produce original movies and stuff. So Netflix is creating Netflix Canada, which is in competition with Canadian studios and Canadian TV networks that produce movies and shows as well. Now up in Canada, there's a whole political sort of like money grab because socialist system up here. Everybody's like wanting funding from the government um, to produce movies, Canadian TV shows. And now, Netflix is coming up to Canada with $500 million, becoming another movie studio, TV show studio to compete with current Canadian studios, current Canadian TV networks. So the battle is there. It's like the first time Walmart entered Canada, and all the Canadian retailers were up in arms about it, sort of. It's the same deal. But if you're like a cameraman, you're like a film director, it's good for you because it doesn't matter where you get your movies made. You can get made at a Canadian studio that's currently here, right? And a homegrown studio, homegrown broadcaster, homegrown TV network, or the new Netflix Canada. It doesn't really matter. Like for the artists and the people creating movies, that it doesn't matter. But for the corporations that make movies and air movies, it's a new competitor. So that's really where the fight is. Whether Americans or Australians are interested in Canadian TV, well, it depends on like, I saw a short film yesterday. That was Canada. Cinderella story, the girl without the cell phone. It's pretty cute. It's pretty good. Actually, I liked it, and that's Canadian made, right? So it's pretty good. It's good. It's like a it's like an Australian. It's like an Australian TV show, except they speak with Canadian accents. The Americans, they like it a little bit different. It's like it's like Canadian and Australian. It has that sort of like that lighting, that sort of thing. And Americans, they like it a little bit more, even more like more budget behind it. All right. So that's Netflix Canada's entry into Canada. Um, but also Netflix is um, 20. A lot of people think Netflix has a lot of cash, like $2 billion in cash, $2.1 billion in cash to spend creating movies, making decisions like this. There's also $25 billion in debt. So 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 it's got $2 billion in cash, but it's got like a mortgage of $25 billion. You can consider it like a mortgage, right? Long-term debt, like a mortgage of $25 billion. What did it spend it on? I'm not really sure from what I read. I just read a quick article, LA Times. I don't know what they spent on, but it's $25 billion in long-term debt. Did they spend it on like a film studio? Did they buy real estate? Okay, let's say $25 billion was like a mortgage. It bought, like Netflix bought real estate, like a studio in Los Angeles, like a building in Los Angeles, or it bought like a studio building in New York, or long-term debt, 25 billion, like a mortgage. And those are good investments, right? You know that block with all the studios and they're retrofitting. If it bought one, 25 billion, that's a good deal, right? Good debt, and it's also got 2.1 billion in cash. So it depends on what kind of $25 billion in debt it's got. Did it buy like studio buildings in Burbank, in Manhattan? Is that kind of debt, right? What else? It wants to focus on prestige movies, right? Okay, so I know what you mean. Prestige movies. Have you ever seen The French Lieutenant's Woman with Jeremy Irons and Meryl Streep? It's on Roku right now. I just rewatched it. When you look at that movie, when you watch that movie, it's like set in the 1800s or something, right? When you watch that movie, I swear to God, like behind them, it's the 1800s. Like as far as the eye could see. That's a prestige movie. You know what I mean? Behind the actors is really the 1800s, as far as the eye could see. I swear to God. Like say they're standing here and like 100 miles away, you can see like the town. They redid the town back to the 1800s, and it's like a tiny little speck 100 miles away. I swear to God, that movie cost like $1 billion. Like in today's money, that movie cost $1 billion. As far as the eye could see, everything was literally, physically redone. It's kind of like Kevin Costner's Untouchables. They cleaned up like all like Chicago. Like how the buildings were all dirty. They totally refaced it all. It was like Chicago 100 years ago, like totally brand new. As far as the eye could see, it was like Chicago 100 years ago, or something like that. That's prestige movie. There's a current movie with Kate Beckinsale. She's in costume, right? They just filmed it in Versailles. You know what I mean? They just filmed it in Versailles. It's a good movie. I think it's small budget. They just filmed it in Versailles. You understand? But a prestige movie like Jeremy Irons or like Kevin Costner Untouchables, as far as the eye could see, they cleaned up everything. They took everything back like 100 years. That's a prestige movie. Can you imagine? I was watching that movie. I was like, oh my God. Can you imagine? Okay, say this, right? Even though you're not in the movie business, maybe somebody brings you a script, right? It says, and not only do we have these great actors, as far as the eye could see, we have to redo the whole freaking background. Like for real. We need like construction workers. We need everybody, architects. You gotta redo the whole background as far as the eye could see. It's like, what is this? Who's gonna plunk down $100 million to redo like Chicago or to redo London? Crazy, right? I was watching that movie. It's crazy. Can you imagine? I'm gonna put down my whole life savings, plus maybe get Japanese company, right? Get like some oil guy to invest in a movie to make the whole planet look like it was 1800. Crazy. And if I don't make money, they might kill me. Like crazy stuff, right? That was a prestige movie. Crazy stuff. It's scary, right? Like just the thought of like doing business that way is so scary. Like from a script, a script. You're gonna redo like everything. You should watch that movie, French Montana Woman, and just look in the background as far as the eye could see. Or like Kevin Costner, as far as the eye could see. They cleaned up everything like in real life, not CGI, real. Millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Crazy money, man. So that's a real prestige movie. And there's that Kate Beckinsale that's on Hoopla and that was released, right? They just wear costumes. They film it at Versailles, right? Another thing, Netflix takes franchises like Marvel, puts on TV. The difference between that is, like Sex and City, HBO, TV becomes movie, or Friends. Everybody wants it to become movie. NBC series, everybody wants it to become movies. Or X-Files, Fox series, TV, everybody wants it to become movie. So, the production at TV level is actually stronger than Netflix, right? You got X-Files, I want to see that movie. You got Sex and City, I want to see that movie. Got Friends, I want to see that movie. But Netflix takes like Marvel, turns into TV series. So it's like, right. It's almost like movie light. Whereas the TV network is like heavyweight movies. Like heavyweight TV, right? That you want to see it turn into a movie. Whereas Netflix takes movies, turns into TV shows. So that's the running joke with Netflix fans, is that network shows become movies, and then Netflix just take movies, turn TV. So that's the running joke with Netflix fans. No offense, that's the running joke, right? So it's kind of like movie light. Right? So, and then of course, remember what I said about prestige movies? A real prestige movie, like Merchant Ivory or something, or The French Montana Woman, or The Untouchables, Kevin Costner. Tons of money. Transform everything you've seen about 100 years ago. Like literally, like physically. So it's not CGI stuff. Not that CGI is cheap, but it's actually real life. So that's prestige movie. Not like just dressing up and filming it outside. Not that's a bad movie, but I'm just saying. What else is there? And then 25 billion debt. Did they buy buildings like studio buildings? If they did, then it's good debt. Or else, if they spent on parties, Yahoo spent $7 million on a Christmas party. That's not good debt. That's a bucket of KFC, isn't it? You spent $7 million on a Christmas party at Yahoo. That's a bucket of KFC. So it depends on your debt. And with Netflix being on, it's no big deal. It's no big deal to the watcher, right? I just posted a Canadian TV show, Cinderella Story, Girl Without a Cell Phone. It's good. And it's no big deal for artists, movie creators, right? Actors, Where the battle is between the current homegrown studios, current homegrown TV networks. It's like the first time, years ago, when Walmart came to Canada. So that's my Netflix analysis. As far whether you want to see Canadian-made films, like I just like the one I posted, Cinderella Story. It depends on the actual film itself, not just because it's made in Canada. Because Australia's got good stuff, right? High quality stuff. Everywhere else got high quality stuff. So it depends on what when we actually see it, if we like it or not. But Prestige itself is big budget. Big. It's the Avatar of drama. You know, Avatar, 100 million or something. It's the Avatar drama. No joke.